good Tuesday evening to you all out there, and welcome in to another episode of the Barking Brown Show. I'm Ron Burgundy, and that's Casey Kitteman and Mr. Nick Carnes down below. We're brought to you as always by our friends over at SeatGeek. I don't know where I was going with that. I almost completely derailed that thing. If you want to go watch your Cavs, get ready for some Guardians baseball. We got all kinds of stuff. You want to go buy some tickets, see a concert? I don't care what you want to do. But go over to SeatGeek, use our promo code Barking Browns, all one word, all capital. Get $20 off that purchase. Please make sure you subscribe to the YouTube. Give us a thumbs up. Gentlemen, how are we?
I'm fantastic, man. Today's like a holiday for me.
Mm-hmm.
I just so ended up with the day off work, and I had nothing to do other than just ingest the Senior Bowl. So I'm marvelous, man. Can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we are getting into the process. I love this time of year. It's like options and opinions just fly around like wildfire. And we're starting to get, a little bit of a view of these guys, a little bit of footage, a little bit of commentary. And that's fun because I feel like, now that we have one game of NFL football left, and now that the Ohio State Buckeyes are national champions, it's like we move from games to just evaluation. And I know these two guys love that. And I'm slowly getting a little more. I'm trying to consume as many clips as there are to see. So I'm probably going to be up until, who knows, I got this big old cup of coffee right here. And I am settling in tonight and ready to consume what everybody's had to say about the Senior Bowl.
I said this last night on OBR Mock Draft Duel that I got an email over the weekend that Ohio State fans bought so many. Jeff, we're going to do this now. We're going to do this 3 minutes in. You want to do this 3 minutes in?
Oh, it's here.
Dude. I'm going to tell my anecdote. And when I'm done with my anecdote, then I'll start my rant.
Oh, we got some chatter here.
You want that? So let's do it, Jeff. So I ordered one of those. The championship hats that they were wearing on the sidelines and in the locker room, like that they wore right after it. Apparently, Ohio State bought out Nike because I get an email saying that those are completely gone, not making anymore, and you're going to get a different hat instead. What? I didn't know that was possible. I didn't know that was a thing that could happen. But they're like, hey, we're giving you a different hat because apparently whatever, and maybe you'll get it in a month and a half. I'm like,
hello?
I got a shirt, though. I did get a shirt. It came in the mail yesterday. So
okay.
I thought, okay, hold up. All right. Anyway, I wanted to tell that anecdote because I thought that was really funny. I've never seen anything like that. Like Jeff said, that's insane. I've never seen that. Like, that's just complete because it was a Nike hat. You know what I mean? It's like it's Nike. It's not like –
yeah,
they don't run out of resources.
That's what I don't understand. So we're okay. Senior, let's talk about the Browns quarterback coach first. Let's do that. That's the hot button topic.
Called Jacob and yelled today.
He did. This is why we ignore Josh Daly. Okay, this is what I'll say about it. I'm very lukewarm about it because I am glad they hired a quarterback coach in this sense. I think they needed one. I think I'm in favor of a quarterback coach always who is just a quarterback coach. Mm-hmm. I want a dude whose job is just the quarterbacks. Like, I just think that's an important position. And I understand, like, Alex Van Pelt did some of it, it had the dual role, and there was a lot of belief that maybe Tommy Reese was going to have that because of his experience as a quarterback and kind of all that good stuff. And just like maybe they'll give him the dual role because Kevin's going to call the plays and things like that. But especially when you don't know, when this is a make or break season and you still don't have a quarterback, I think someone who is just solely focused on the quarterbacks and getting them ready is important. I don't know how I feel about Bill Musgrave doing it. I don't love the internal hire because I would like a different new voice in there. But I am in favor of saying, hey, you were helping the offense. Go just focus on the quarterback. So in that sense, I was happy about it. But I just kind of lukewarm. I don't know that it's a bad hire at all. I don't think it's a bad hire, but I'm not going to jump for joy over it because the only thing about it that I like is that they've got someone focused just on quarterbacks. Bill Musgrave is a very, very experienced coach. Worked with some good quarterbacks. I would have potentially gone somewhere else, potentially brings a different voice in, but I do like that they put someone just on that focus.
Okay. Well, as Jacob can attest, when they first announced that it was going to be most likely an internal hire, I'm just happy this isn't Chad O'Shea. I felt like
yeah,
that direction. But I did mention Musgrave. I was like, Musgrave, he's been there, and it's not that he's worked with good quarterbacks; it's that he's gotten the best out of whatever quarterbacks he's had in the past.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the guys, he's like, he got, and he was Matt Ryan when Matt Ryan first got in the league. So he's had experience bringing a young player along. So if that's the route they go, they've done that before. Derek Carr's greatest year when he was up for the MVP, that was under Bill Musgrave as a quarterback coach. And I don't consider those guys elite talents, but those are like upper tier mid guys, and so I think that if you go the veteran route, which I think that's going to be a combination of all these things, he's had experience dealing with those type of quarterbacks. He's very widely versed in wide zone stuff. So if you're leaning back into Stefanski, and this gives Reese a veteran coach to lean on in certain areas, and not, so it makes sense from that point of view.
Yeah.
But 100%, like I would have felt more optimistic about what it could be if you go get a different voice. But if you waited too long into the hiring carousel to where maybe some of the names you'd have been interested in were scooped up by some of these new hire coaches that already put their staffs together, you know what I mean? So, maybe just making lemonade, you know what I mean? So I think that it's like a trustworthy thing because now, with old Bloomy, offensive line coach, veteran guy, Musgrave, veteran guy, you're surrounding Reese, a young first-time NFL coordinator with, veteran coaches. So I think that's more that's what it is more than anything.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I just always thought it was mysterious how, it's like they had Drew Petzing, right? And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Petzing was the last singularly quarterback coach for the Browns, if I'm not mistaken. And so
probably
they just kind of mysteriously make these staff decisions that I just feel like it makes sense to have one guy just being with the quarterbacks, like with them, coaching them all the time, singular focus on just the quarterbacks. Because you look at what was in the quarterback room last year, and Dorian Thompson-Robinson and Deshaun Watson were complete disasters, and Jameis could throw the ball but gave it away to the other team too much. And so it's like the quarterback was not only the weakest room on your team, but it was easily one of the worst in the NFL. And so for me, I'm just looking at it and saying, okay, you just went 3-14, and what are you going to do to change this? And what are we going to do to adapt? And so I like the idea of just having somebody that, because clearly they are hell-bent on getting somebody young and new in that quarterback room. So it feels like they are setting up a foundation that can help whoever that guy is grow and learn within this offense. And I like that. I do agree that I do agree, like maybe some more outside voices would be nice. But if there's anything that I think about this regime, I feel like before they brought in Ken Dorsey, before they fired Alex Van Pelt, I think they felt confident in what they were doing. Now, I feel good and bad about that because on one hand, it's like, they get Joe Flacco in there 2 years ago and the passing offense is elite, the best of the NFL at the time. The run game really wasn't existent and has not been existent since Nick Chubb went down in Pittsburgh in week 2. So I don't know exactly where my confidence level is in terms of their offensive scheme. But it's clear to me, at least from making these internal hires, that they believe in what they're doing offensively. And I think whether they're putting the blame on Deshaun or whether they're saying, we brought Ken Dorsey in who maybe didn't fit what we wanted to do because we were trying to build around this quarterback and what he does. Maybe to me, this kind of says that they believe in their process and there's probably more of a collective thought among them outside of Dorsey, who's now gone, and that they're basically going back to that. Because if you noticed, they signed a fullback to a full futures contract today.
Yeah.
And it just seems like they're going back to everything Stefanski did, and Tommy Rees is in lockstep with that. And I liked a lot of things he said in his press conference, being deceptive, marrying the pass and the run. A lot of the Kevin Stefanski-isms from Tommy Rees, I felt. And so I guess that's what I'm thinking, is just that they believe in themselves. And that's why these hires are coming from internally, and they want to maybe they weren't unified as a voice last year. I would say that's probably fair to say. And they're trying to get everybody on one page. So is it going to work? I feel more optimistic about it than not. That's where I'm at right now.
Okay. I want to do this. So Jeff, here's my thing. I tried to bet somebody.
There it is.
That's not even related. I tried to bet somebody about Jackson Dart, and they chose not to take the bet. So, Jeff, I guarantee Jackson Dart is not a first-round quarterback. If you want to take that bet, if you win, if he's just selected in the first round, I will give $100 to the charity of your choice.
Damn.
Shoes on the other foot. Gauntlet thrown. Put your money where your mouth is. And then, wait, hold on. I'll let you accept or deny the bet first, and then I'll tell you the thing I was going to say. So let's talk about the Senior Bowl. Let's talk about the Senior Bowl. Sign 2, draft 2. Right? If we're talking about quarterbacks, yes.
I need to back up here because there is a Daniel Jones hive going on in the chat right now. What is this? Yep. What is this Daniel Jones stuff?
Yeah.
Why is it in here? Why are we talking about it?
Because they know I'm pissed off about it. They won't stop peppering me with Daniel Jones and Jackson Dart. And you know what? It's bullying, and I don't like it.
What? Wait, how does Jackson Dart get you to Daniel Jones? What?
Because that's the room that Jeff and MC want to build.
Yeah, that's their quarterback room.
That's their quarterback room. They fancy themselves GMs.
And suddenly they're friends and they're agreeing with
over
each
this.
other.
This is what's awesome. Look, come on, let's agree that this is what brought them together.
It is what brought them together.
Can't be.
What in the hell is it? Yeah, I saw Lane. I saw Lane talking about Danny Dimes too. I just don't understand. Like the last time this guy played, he was awful. I don't like.
So they're going to. Here's the thing. Let's have this conversation. So they're going to do a reclamation project, Gordon.
Yeah.
Like they're going to bring one of them in. And if you ask me, of all of them, is Daniel Jones the most talented? He might be. Like just talent, just arm talent, athleticism, all of that combined. Like I guess does he have the highest ceiling of the reclamation projects? And even if you say no, he's probably top 2 or 3. He's up there. He may not be number 1, but they're going to bring one in. My guy's Trey Lance. I would like to do Trey Lance. That's the one that I like. Because I think it's something like we did this over at the OBR, and you can go. We all chimed in over there talking about what we would do in that room. But I think it's something like you do like a Jacoby Brissett, Trey Lance rookie. Like that's kind of where like you get one of those like established veteran backups that can kind of start a handful of games for you. You get a reclamation project, a Zach Wilson, a Trey Lance, a Daniel Jones. And then you draft someone somewhere. And that's what I think the room looks like. So if you're talking reclamation projects, Jones is not at the top of the list for me, but does he have them? And I'll ask you, Casey, and Nick, you can weigh in as well. Is he the one with the highest ceiling of the, quote unquote reclamation project quarterbacks? Because they're going to bring one of them in, I think.
Well, here's why I stand with it. And this is what I responded with on my section of it is I think the most likely is Kirk Cousins. Probably. And if that doesn't materialize, because there's several ways that could go, I think you pivot back to Jameis as the veteran guy you bring in. And then you draft a guy wherever you draft him. It's going to happen at some point in this draft. They're snagging a quarterback. But I think that there's either the reclamation route, which it could be Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, Daniel Jones, one of those guys, or what Barry likes to do is trade. And if you trade, you're not trading for a starter. That's just no one's given their starting quarterback. Right. But you could find a situation like in Green Bay where they drafted Sean Clifford to be the backup. They got Malik Willis. If you could pry Malik Willis away for a day 3, or even in Chicago, because Caleb's their guy, if you can get Tyson Bagent for a day 3 pick, I'm in on that. I think the trade route, but it's going to be that or the reclamation.
Yeah.
And then I say bring a UDFA in to make DTR earn his spot on the practice squad.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I just feel like that's where we're at. But yeah, they like reclamation projects, and they're cheap. I think that's the most important part is 2 important parts. Whatever room they build has got to be cheap as shit. Because until the elephant in the room is officially gone, you still got to kind of divvy up that pie. So Kirk would be a veteran minimum if he forces his way out of Atlanta. Jameis ain't gonna cost you more than 8 to 9, probably on an open market. Your rookie quarterback's never expensive, and these reclamation projects will be $1 to $2 million. So you can afford that room. But the most important part, and that's why Daniel Jones fits this criteria, is it's not going to be a sexy name.
No, it's not.
So he fits the criteria. High talent, not a sexy name, not in vogue. Not everyone's going to be vying for his services. But there was also a world in my head where he got to Minnesota. If KOC likes him, they'll probably keep him over Sam Darnold. Let someone else pay Darnold if he likes Danny Dimes. So we'll have to see how that plays out first.
The reclamation project piece is interesting because I do agree that they just have that trend.
It's incredibly low risk, high reward.
I get it. It's just Daniel Jones.
Here's the problem with Daniel Jones. It's his face.
I do feel like
I don't like his face.
That's the problem with Zach Wilson.
Like when you look at personality.
You're threatened by Zach Wilson.
I am threatened by Zach Wilson.
He's
too handsome.
Like Zach. Okay, so like if you're trying to bring in a reclamation project, I think personality is important, and I do agree that the Jacoby Brissett, Daniel Jones personality probably fits what you want in there, or even Jameis Winston probably fits what you want in there more than Zach. Zach Wilson, just that dude rubs me the wrong way. But or maybe it could be like, I don't know, is Drew Lock like Drew Lock could be
if Drew Lock hadn't balled out in week 18, he'd be so cheap.
For 1 week, it's going to change the whole thing.
It'll make him more expensive. Yeah, he literally played the best game any Giants quarterback's ever played.
Okay,
literally ever.
Yeah, you're right. Okay,
and the worst time to possibly do it, by the way.
I'm still
We put that on the screen.
I'm still wacko for Flacco. I know that's not popular. I don't care. I'm still wacko for Flacco. I know he wasn't good in Indy, but he was good here. But I could definitely get behind Jacoby. Jacoby would make sense to me. They need somebody in that room that's like been there, that can help bring a young guy along. Maybe Flacco's not that guy. Maybe Flacco's not the guy. And Kirk Cousins would come in here and just be like, I want this to be my team. But like, if you really wanted, yeah, I think Jacoby would probably be my favorite if you want a mentor type guy.
Plus, he can do taxes.
Yeah. Yeah. And I will say the one thing about Daniel Jones that is intriguing is that dude can run. Like not, he might trip. Never forget that. But he can get out there and get in space. And
brother, I have never in my life related more to a person than when Daniel Jones fell and on that run. Because it was just, it's like when you're like, oh my goodness, life is going so good, everything's grand, and then just right in the dick. Just
don't you feel like though that Daniel Jones and his personality and Kevin Stefanski and his personality would fit? Don't you feel like that?
I don't know that Daniel Jones has a personality.
Well, hey.
I'm trying to think. What does he even sound like?
I don't know. He's the ultimate reserved, like... I mean, if you're talking about bringing in a reclamation project, so more likely than not, that's your backup quarterback who can push the starter depending on who the starter is, especially if the starter is like Jacoby. Like in that situation, then the reclamation project has a really good chance to be the week 1 starter. So does the rookie, depending on who it is and where they are in their development. And you don't want it to be too noisy or whatever. You definitely think Daniel Jones is good in that sense.
Right.
He's going to come in. Again, I agree with you. I don't know his voice.
Here's all I ask. Match the skill sets. Don't give me statue Jameis Winston and we want to run with Deshaun Watson and DTR. Don't do that again. Like if you're gonna draft Cam Ward or whoever, like yeah, then maybe you're saying Daniel Jones. But like if you're gonna draft Shedeur Sanders, maybe you want like somebody like Jacoby Brissett or Kirk Cousins or whatever. Just get a unified skill set in the damn quarterback room and don't try to run 2 different offenses. The maddening frustration I feel about that. And just whatever it was they did last year with this changing play callers, and then Jameis doesn't get to run Kevin's offense, and Dorsey wasn't calling plays for Deshaun. Like that is no more of that. No more. That's all I'm asking. Is that too much to ask?
As long as 4 is not involved, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care.
Okay.
As long as 4 is not involved, I don't care.
Like I
that's
just think
really where I'm at. We'll just figure we'll just don't, as long as that's not part of the question, part of the equation, part of the answer, then I don't really care what the answer.
It's onward and upward, baby.
To the fucking moon. Hey, do you know who fumbled his first snap today at the Senior Bowl? Because I do.
Oh boy. Here we go.
It was Jackson Dart, Jeff. And it wasn't the only fumble he had today. He looked like shit.
I don't want no small hands, inaccurate passer. Did
he have small hands? Did I miss that? Did Jackson Dart have small hands?
No, they're not. They're low 9s. They're not big.
Yeah, they're not. That one really, really threw me. It wasn't even a real center, Jeff. It was a coach. It was the easiest snap you could ever take. He fumbled it.
What a depressing start for quarterback play in the Senior Bowl.
Especially fired the coach. I felt like Dart and Jalen Milroe today were really pressing. Like it really felt like those dudes were like is because Jalen Milroe and I think Jackson Dart is very close, has the most to gain and lose from the Senior Bowl in my mind. But I think they're both pretty close. I have Milroe up there, but just because everybody wants to talk about the ceiling of Milroe because it's phenomenal. I mean, he's a special athlete. He has an absolute bazooka. He comes in with what, 8.5-inch arms or hands?
8.6. Yes, sir.
So 3/8 of an inch from being Kenny Pickett, which kind of explains some of the throwing inaccuracies that you see and some of the balls that come out a little flat. You're like, oh, maybe he doesn't quite have the grip that someone with a bigger hand has. So, Milroe has that, and everybody talks about his mechanical issues. I thought you saw a guy trying to overcompensate. Like, you saw a guy that looked like he was trying to completely change his throwing motion, his footwork. You could tell his body the muscle memory wanted to do different things than what his body was doing out there. And I thought with Jackson Dart, he was trying to look like a pro-style quarterback because everybody's like, well, he's in that Lane Kiffin cookie-cutter hand-holding offense. And I thought those guys just went out there and just were kind of – what is a good hand size? It's over 9.
Yeah, over 9.
Over 9. But it just was a disappointing day, I think, for the quarterbacks, the bigger name quarterbacks. And I just wanted to get that out there, that if you're looking for day one of the Senior Bowl to make you feel good about the quarterback play, it did not do that.
Yeah, there was a ton of good play at the Senior Bowl. It just wasn't from the quarterback position. Both groups severely underwhelmed. I think Hennigan from Memphis probably was my quarterback of the day, but the bar is low. It'll be interesting to see how they bounce back. Something to keep in mind, though, is Dart has to throw it well. He can move. He has movement skills, but Milroe has the added element of his legs are going to aid him much more in his actual game. You're not using at the Senior Bowl. He's not tucking it and running at the Senior Bowl, so his floor will just be higher based on those athletic traits that he brings to the table. But yeah, they didn't look good. They did not look good. You know who looked good? The offensive and defensive lines, bro. There was so much good play in the trenches today. So much good play. But I want to skip to the end because I think that's the most interesting conversation for us. The star of today was Bubba Ventrone. Bubba Ventrone, head coach of the American team, at the end of practice. And it's Senior Bowls. Basically, if you watch Senior Bowl, it's kind of the same. Each team does it a little different, but it'll be individual drills where they get warmed up, run the hoop, just do different agility stuff. Then they'll do some one-on-ones, and they'll come together for a team period. And then they'll do a couple one-on-ones on the back end. And at the very end of practice, you'll go best on best. One-on-ones with the whole group watching. When they did that today to end the practice for the American team, Bubba Ventrone, it was like he was Bruce Buffer announcing UFC fighters, calling players to the center and letting them battle out one-on-one. And then the very last rep between, let me get this straight, it was Carson Vinson and Shamar Stewart of A&M. Carson Vinson of Alabama A&M, probably one of my big winners of the day.
Yeah, he was
the
awesome.
Loser of that rep. So if the offense won, they're cool. The defense wins, they're cool. The other side had to do 25 push-ups, the entire defense or the entire offense. You know what I mean? And it had a ton of energy to it. And Bubba Ventrone really, I didn't expect it out of him. I didn't know he was that boisterous in practice, but it was cool to see. I'll say that. But Carson Vinson won that rep, and the defense had to all do 25 push-ups before they went home today.
Nice.
And it was chef's kiss, man. It was how to handle practice, how to keep your players pumped up and juiced, and they're going to be excited to go back tomorrow and win that back.
It's nice to see so much Browns involvement. Right, like obviously you got Ventrone there, and you've seen Stefanski's there. Andrew Berry gave I haven't heard the press conference yet, but he gave one from there, right?
Yeah, it was nothing.
Okay, but it's like they're
but
all.
Yes,
there,
he did speak.
Right, it's like we got draft picks again, and they're all involved, and you can tell they are just locked in on every one of these guys trying to figure out which way it is they should go, because. I honestly, it's like every time I even bring up, Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, it's like I quote tweeted this show on Twitter with that and asked somebody to pick. Nobody's picking either one of them. I cannot remember a draft process where it just seems like there is no unified stance on any one of these quarterbacks.
There wasn't last year. Here's the thing about that. Last year was different because they were arguing about a bunch of good quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But like, what's the last universal guy? Like Joe Burrow?
Caleb was number one last year. People.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, but
I meant
the argument was after Caleb.
I meant from a Browns perspective, though. I'm just talking about like
okay.
we as the Browns and trying to get a quarterback have been in this process so many times, and it's like I'm looking for whatever collective opinion, and it's just everywhere. Everybody's there's no nothing, and yeah. So I hear you on like the draft process as a whole and quarterbacks, and I agree with you, Casey. It was definitely Caleb last year, but it just seems like no matter what, there's going to be a big portion of Browns fans that need to be won over by whoever this quarterback is.
I think it's the way to go no matter what because of how burned you got this year. Like you got burned in such a way. Yeah, we're used to being burned like that, but no, I know. But what my point is, I'm used to seasons like this that are off the rails quickly. After hype, like I go back to 2019 and the kick in the nuts that Tennessee game was. You know, after all Odell's here, you whoop-de hell and all that good stuff. You don't wear brown. Yeah, that's right. I was trying to remember what he said. And I was like, oh yeah, whoop-de hell.
You wear brown and orange, or you don't matter.
Yeah,
That's what started it at the movies.
Oh God, that did happen.
Taking a picture with a fan.
Oh, I love everybody that tried to say that the shirt actually said I farted because that was pretty funny too. I don't have my farted shirt on. That would have been great, but yeah. So you got burned in the way that you got burned. So now everybody's being incredibly not optimistic, cautious. No matter like everything that I liked Tommy Reese for a bunch of reasons, but I'm like, but do I like it? And it's like, and then it'll be like, you'll get once free agency comes in March, it'll be like, they have signed Kirk Cousins. And I'll be like, oh yeah.
I think that would probably be my favorite option right now. Even though Kirk was bad last year, it's like, at least he's only a year removed from being bad, or from being good, right? You could sell me on that. What's the sexiest? What is the sexiest realistic free agent quarterback option right now? Or I guess trade. What's the? Is it Trey Lance for you, Jacob?
Oh no. Trey Lance is like buy low, win high.
Derek Carr.
Derek Carr's your sexy answer?
It's the sexiest. It's fathomable. It's
okay.
They need to get out of some bad contracts.
Okay.
I'm not going to be super pumped about it. Like I still think it's the bridge to nowhere. It's still, can your guy hold court for a year while your other guy develops that you draft?
It's Sam Darnold.
That's what this equation is.
I think it's Sam Darnold.
Yeah, but you don't have to trade. He's a free agent. You said trade.
No, he said sexiest, and it could. He said free agent or could be trade.
Yeah, free agent, trade, whatever.
I don't know. Darnold gave me 1 year. I still find it hard to buy in all the way on that. And I saw him look like a pumpkin at the end of the year. So it still kind of feels like the bridge to nowhere.
So did Jared Goff, but I'd take him.
Yeah, no, but that's what we're doing here, right? Like, we're talking about quarterbacks. Like, Goff had an outstanding year. The team was amazing. But at the end of the day, they're limited by how far he can take them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And
they got to have a historic
concept. Is he's a very high mid-level dude, but needs the roster to be insane around him to be that crazy productive, which it wasn't Detroit. That's what we saw. Yeah. But at the end of the day, when you got a quarterback that needs to go out there and make a play when it counts, do you really trust Jared Goff to be the guy to pull that off? Probably not.
No.
So they're kind of handcuffed with this guy.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to the same reason the Rams got rid of him.
Senior Bowl.
You're going to get someone with the same kind of limitations at the end of the day when we're talking about crashing through the ceiling. You know what I mean? You're going to find, but that's what if you're going to find you're not going to find your future in a trade or free agency, unless it's a crazy young dude that no one's valuing. You know what I mean? You're going to find that in the draft. That's the reason it's got to be an effort from all sides.
This is my favorite game to play. and I'm sure it's going to piss some people off in the chat.
Let's go.
Jared Goff is the Tom Brady of Baker Mayfield's.
Ooh.
So what's really funny is Casey and I had this conversation the other day, and it's what you just said, but in a different manner. And it was Casey said, Jared Goff is the peak of mid. Like he is, because he's always going to be, because Jared Goff's top 16. He's in the top half.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's
Perfectly, he'll look like he's top 8 because of the talent around him.
But when it comes down to it, and you're in a do or die playoff Super Bowl situation, you got to hope someone else around him is making plays, because he's probably not. Like in those big high pressure. I'm surprised that MC was that kind in his comment. I really
I'll
thought
say this: Baker had big hands.
Baker does have big hands, yeah. Baker's top of mid. That's what I tell my wife about me. Yeah. That's
Ooh, I forgot about this option.
Geno. I don't think it's an option. Why would they get rid of Geno Smith?
Well, they don't have anyone else,
Yeah, why would they do that?
so they have to get someone else to make him available.
Right. Sure. Okay.
Unless they do.
But that's
Unless
the level of dude we're talking.
Who was it? They just hired an offensive coordinator, didn't they?
Yeah, Clint Kubiak.
Yeah.
Huh.
Kenneth Walker season, baby.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, that's right. They did
It is Kenneth Walker season.
Oh, Geno would do so good in that offense. Geno would look good in that offense. That's a Geno offense. That's what that is.
Smith and
Let's
Jigba.
pivot back to guys who look good today in Mobile.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
I have one.
Go.
My guy. He's on my certified my guy. Go look it up. I've been talking about him for weeks, for months, and people are coming back around. And now the masses have read the gospel of Josh Connerly. And I love Josh Connerly. The left tackle from Oregon looked really good. Looked really good out there today. I stand by my statement. I think he's the best athlete at tackle in this class. Like, he came in a little bit bigger. What did he come in at?
314 pounds.
314. I kind of thought he was closer to 305. So that was really nice to kind of like 308, 310, somewhere in there. He comes in at 3.
I got all of their official measurements.
Okay, cool. You're smart.
Connerly is 6'4", 313, 34-inch arms, and 81-inch wingspan. Not a guard, people.
Not a guard.
Not a guard, people. I'll say this: he looked better at right tackle today than he did left. When they switched him over, he had better reps as a right tackle today.
He's still got some functional strength issues and some things that I would like to see him improve on, but I love guys that have given me evidence that they can play, but also have the traits to take it to another level. And that's what I think you see with Josh Connerly. He started his high school career as a freaking running back until he got too big and powerful. And they're like, you need to be on the offensive line.
Really?
So yeah. He was like, and he was a good good running back too. And it attests to the level of athlete that he is. And I just think that I don't know that he makes it to 33 anymore. I think he's a first round talent. So I would love Josh Connerly in any way, shape, or form that Cleveland could make that happen. But I thought he had a pretty good day.
The offensive lineman, in my opinion, who had the best day was Great Zabel.
There it is.
North Dakota State. They literally moved this dude everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And won everywhere. Everywhere they put this dude, he won his reps. And I'm talking, he didn't play. He was a left tackle at North Dakota State.
Mm-hmm.
Looked really good at guard. Looked really good at center. Out there snapping and winning reps. Just it was impressive to see. He's someone that he beat so many people today that those guys are going to lose sleep plotting on how to, because they get shots to these guys again tomorrow. And like he literally went up and down the line, and like he just got so many more reps because he kept moving positions. So every time he looked up, he was getting a one-on-one opportunity and winning. So it was super impressive to see. Today was a day for the small school guys, man.
To be clear on Gray Zabel, just real quick.
Yeah.
Just real quick on Gray Zabel. He played he at North Dakota State, he played right tackle, left guard, and left tackle. So he has played on both sides and played inside.
He played this last year at left tackle, but yeah.
Yeah. All at left tackle.
Versatility, man.
Yeah,
Give me somebody that's versatile.
I think ultimately he's probably best at guard, but a guard who's an emergency center, yeah, for sure. And he can slide out tackle if you need him to.
Sadly, he's almost 23.
Alabama A&M's Carson Vinson.
Had no idea who he was before today.
My dude is 6'6", 314, 35-plus inch arms, 83.6 wingspan. Swallowed people today. Caught the eyes of the coaches. When it came down to do best on best at the end of the day, he was the dude they sent out there. So when they did that, when they sent the people out at the end of the day for the one-on-ones, let me see who it was here. Bad ball. It was Frazier, guard from LSU, beating Cam Jackson from Florida. That was impressive. Another dude, Webb. Is it Clay Webb?
Clay Webb, Jackson. Yeah, Jackson.
Center from Jackson State. He beat Dion Walker.
Yeah, he did.
Dion Walker is 6'7" with grapevines for arms.
340.
So big. It was almost like a Calais Campbell type look. What this dude was bringing to the table. And he played well early. He's a guy who rushes without much of a plan, but he's just so physically imposing. You can just kind of get away with it. We'll see if as a pro, you have to get your pad level down, be more conscious where you put your hands and stuff. But like he played at the University of Kentucky, by the way. Clay Webb from some small school won straight up in one-on-ones. And then Alabama A&M's Carson Vinson. So small school guys dominating against large school competition. And it was a heck of a day for that offensive line, because I'm telling you right now, that defensive line for the American team is stacked. It's Walter Nolan from Ole Miss. It's TJ Sanders from South Carolina, Shamar Turner, Dion Walker. Like this is a loaded line. And those dudes stood up at the end of the day. And that was probably the most fun I've had in the last 2 or 3 Senior Bowls, just watching one-on-one matchups. I would highly advise anyone to watch tomorrow.
Yeah, I got into the tape for about an hour or so before this show, so I was able to get through a lot of it, because you can get through a lot because it's all chopped up into just the actual plays. The first thing I see when I turn on is Walter Nolan just destroying somebody. Just the defensive tackle from Ole Miss, who I took on Monday's written mock on the OBR. I took him at 33. He's just in the backfield. Like, you would think, what's really funny about Walter Nolan, I think he's a phenomenal pass rusher, but he's a better run defender. And he's like 290. It's like the craziest thing you've ever seen. You're like, that guy should be like 320 the way he plays the run. Like because he's so
93, I believe. Yeah, he's not over 3.
But he's strong, got a real powerful base, but he's got that quick, just explosive burst off the line of scrimmage. And I don't know who he was going up against in the one rep that I was watching, but it literally, I turned it on and it's just, boop, and I'm like, oh, okay, Walter. And then TJ Sanders continued to do that stuff to beat people like a drum. Those two defensive tackles. You should not, Josh. I would not take Caleb Johnson over Josh Connerly at 33. Not in this class.
Interesting.
There's just too many running backs.
Don't get me wrong,
Caleb Johnson's a phenomenal running back, but I can get value with Damian Martinez, a similar style runner later.
I can guarantee that will not happen. The comment, it won't happen.
No.
I definitely think the Browns will come away from this draft with a running back. I'm not sure who it is. Personally, I prefer Quinshon Judkins, but I don't think that's the way the assets are going to be allocated. I just think maybe he'll
picks, and they're probably going to make at least 10 of those.
Yeah, it very well could be. I think I was asked doing the podcast with Sam Penix last night, and I was asked like, where do you think the Browns or where is the sweet spot for running back? And I think it's rounds 3 through 5, somewhere in there.
That Amari pick,
I'm not gonna be surprised if they walk away with 2, man.
that Amari Cooper pick looming large, man. That's an Andrew Berry win. That's an Andrew Berry win big time.
Yeah, it's at 94 now. It's locked in.
Love that.
Yeah, you could easily see third round, fourth round, and then one of those sixth rounders. Like, in what I would love the idea of it is just take one of both elks, right? Like, take whoever you think is the best one first, and if that happens to be a power back, take a scat back at the end. You know,
Woody Marks.
if you're
Give
willing,
me
to
round
take,
6. Woody Marks, his old ass.
it's so funny because you're like, this guy is really out of the age guardrails, but like where he's gonna go, they're probably not going to care about the age guardrails at that point. And the dude can play. Like,
That dude is a receiving back, man.
if you're just kind of like, especially like if you take Quinshon, you take Quinshon, you're like, well, give me this, give me a nice receiving back out of, that can play some third downs here and there and leak out and be a safety valve. Like, what am I?
Devin Neal. There's so many options, dude. So many.
It is so insanely stupid. Because like I do all these mocks, like not even the ones that not just the ones I write up, but I do these mocks and I'm just like, I'll be sitting there and I'll be looking at a dude that I think is a starting running back right out the gate. You do know who Quinshon Judkins is, MC. I know you know who he is because he ran all over Tennessee. Anyway, I don't remember what he did in that game. I just wanted to say that, take that cheap shot there. So,
look, I'd take their running back. Take Tennessee. You're not going to go wrong. My problem with mocks is I'll get to a spot and I'll see a running back that I like, and I'll draft him. But then, like 2 rounds later, I'll have another running back that I was like, I could have gotten better value by just taking this dude here and snagging a different need. That, you know what I mean? So the cupboard is full. The running backs in this draft.
I will not complain one bit if they take 2 running backs because you need to inject juice in that room. Like Jerome Ford gives you some stuff. Like I'm not trying to, but I would love to see 2, like just there's so many teams in the NFL now that just have that dynamic duo. And I think that could really help the Browns, like especially if we are going to have a fullback on the roster again, which I do think that's a little tease that they're going to go back towards what they were doing before. Let's get, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt were I don't think you're going to get that type of luxury again. Right. But like, if you got two running backs on rookie contracts, man, that paves the way for flexibility elsewhere. I feel like that's a winning formula. No,
I'm just
2020 Kareem Hunt's in this draft.
Yeah,
his name's Cam Scatabo.
Yeah.
Oh,
he does all that. Everything you see, even the out of control running, the ridiculousness as a pass protector, crazy good out of the dude. He'll be a short yardage. I'm telling you, man. And he'll give you 2 or 3 series where he can just be the feature and give breathers. But the price tag to get a Cam Scatabo might be too high for where they're wanting to do for that role. If that makes sense. But like when I watch Cam, that's all I see. I see 2020 Kareem Hunt.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you. There's a million ways this can go, right? But if you entertain the trade down option, you pick up another couple picks in this draft. I don't know. Like Jacob and I were debating back and forth about trading down and if it, like the merit of that. And I was very strongly make a pick at 2. But, as you get deeper into this and you just look at, if they can evaluate well. So we'll see. There's mixed opinions on how well they've done that. But if they can, it could be tempting. It could be tempting because the roster itself is in such need of juice just across the board. I like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I was listening to Jake Burns and Andrew Spade talk about what other teams have gotten in terms of compensation for trading down to let another team take a quarterback, that kind of thing. And if you could get like another second in this draft, like what if you had 3 seconds, for your trouble for trading down? Like I just feel like that offers so much flexibility. I don't know. I'm thinking about all the options. I'm trying to be open and not just like lock into one path here, because so many different things can happen. I don't know. But I did see, and I wanted to bring this up, but just as we're getting a little later here, I did see that Andrew Berry specifically said that he didn't think Deion Sanders would have any problem with Shedeur Sanders being drafted by the Browns. And Jacob, I know you've done a bunch of homework on Shedeur, and so just real briefly, I would love to hear a follow up, because I know you said you were gonna. Now you've watched Shedeur. What do you think? Oh no! Oh God!
That might have been the most frustrating watch I've ever had, because he does these things where I'm like, oh, that was great. Like you talk about the Cam Ward, the highs and lows, except the highs aren't quite as high and the lows are stupider. And that's saying something. Like, when you put Shedeur in a clean pocket and allow him to see the field, precise. He's precise. The ball placement is awesome. I don't think he has a big arm, but he doesn't have like some people. I say he has an average arm, but I think he has an NFL arm. Some people will be like, he can't throw it at all. It's like, yes, he can. He can spin it. He's got enough arm strength. He can go vertical. He underthrows deep balls all the time, but he puts them in pretty good spots to where they don't get picked off. It might be different at the NFL level. But for one, I don't think he's 200 pounds. I heard scouts in the spring had a verified weight of 198.
That's not great.
He's probably 6'1". He's probably under 6'2". Now, can he get bigger and more durable? Yes. Is he tough as hell? Yes. Like, he is tough as hell. But NFL athletes are going to hit you in NFL linebackers. They're going to hit you a lot harder. So I have concerns if you're 200 pounds.
We'll say he doesn't seem to play with like reckless abandon, though.
No. Well,
would you say he does?
I mean, he takes
20-yard sacks. He
takes 30-yard sacks.
It's more reckless than I want to get.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, there's this sack where I'm like, go down. I was watching this play where I just kept saying, go down, take intentional grounding, something. And he just keeps hopping on one foot. And by the time he finally goes down, they had a 4th and goal that they had to go for because they weren't in field goal range. And they were because of sacks when he kept going backwards. It's like, to me, he looks like a guy that thinks he's not a bad athlete, but he's not an elite athlete. But he plays like he thinks he has the arm strength and athleticism to make a play always, and he just doesn't. Like, when he is decisive, and he can be decisive, he can be methodical, he can drill it in there, he can march right down there, he can read a defense. I've seen it, but he just frustrates me. He's just so wildly inconsistent. And then in the biggest games, when the better teams, the competition ramps up in those big moments, I don't think he shows up. And I don't think he's a first rounder. At the end of the day, I said I got a 2nd round grade on him.
So would that player be worth having to deal with?
No.
After every game, Deion going on national media and second guessing everything about how his son's not being put in the right opportunity, right offense, not being played correctly. Like, can we think back pretty far here? Have we ever had a problem with a player's dad going to social media before?
No, I don't think I've ever heard of that.
Huh. Imagine it's Deion fucking Sanders. You think he's going to hold back his criticisms of the current coaching staff or ownership or the other players around him if his son starts coming up short? It ain't worth it.
My thing is like,
Ain't none of that worth that.
I would not be angry like I was when they selected Deshaun Kaiser. It wouldn't be that bad because I was angry. I broke things.
I flipped a chair.
Wow.
Micah Shanks can testify.
Yeah, I
flipped a
I
chair
was-
when that happened.
is because I do see a path where he's a good NFL quarterback. There is a
Taking
good
number 2. He's got to be great.
That's my point.
Yeah. Can't
I'm not there. I don't see the path to greatness. Can he be Jared Goff at some point? The king of mid? Yeah, probably. But there's no physical traits about him that are elite. Like he doesn't have elite tools. You know, the arm talent, so to speak, because of the accuracy is there. That's elite. He's probably the most accurate passer in this class. I think his adjusted completion percentage this year was over 81%.
That's the Stefanski appeal. Like, you know, he's going to love that.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I get that. I can't get there, man. I can't get there. I watched all of it. And I got frustrated because I think he should be better. And I didn't see enough progression in the areas that were issues. He's a good football player in there. But is it going to be?
I hear what both of you are saying, and I agree.
Say the same person who loved the Manziel pick. Yeah. I love Manziel.
Hey, I fist pumped like no other when they drafted Johnny Manziel. I'll never forget that. But I hear what you're both saying, and I think it's very valid, right? But I just keep coming back to all the options we discussed at quarterback tonight. Mostly, unless you're getting like a high-end like Kirk Cousins bounce back, probably lead you to like 7 and 10, something like that. And so then I ask myself, can this regime survive that? My answer is no. And so then I think the biggest question is, will the regime operate like they need to save their jobs, or will they just do their best to create a foundation and put their hands in Jimmy Haslam's, put their fates in Jimmy Haslam's hands? And I lean towards they're going to operate to save their jobs. Maybe they won't. Maybe they just got their extensions and they say to themselves, we're going to get paid for the next 3 years or whatever after this. So we're just going to try to build the best team, and hopefully he finds a reason to keep us, and then we can take our quarterback next year. I don't know. But and then the other key piece here is the ticking clock of the core that you're building, right? Or the core that you've built, the core that is already built. Now I know you've got a lot of assets to juice that back up, and maybe you trade down, and then suddenly there's a lot of risk going both ways, right? Would you both say that's fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
So I just don't like what. How do you think this regime is going to operate? Because I feel like the mentality of the regime, like, are you?
The good thing is, you will have a better idea because free agency will come a lot sooner than the draft, and so you'll know what you're quote unquote stuck with, so to speak.
Sure.
Because you don't know how the draft's going to fall. Like, you don't know. You may get a crack at Cam Ward, and they may hate Cam Ward. I don't know. I have not found out that information yet. Sounds like they like him quite a bit. Anyway, I don't know.
Well, am I back?
Here's the reality.
Okay.
The reality is it's not going to be sexy, and it might not get fixed this year. The question is, can they win with mid? Because if they can't win with mid, they won't be here for the year after.
That's true.
They have won with mid.
So I think that's how they're going to operate. You can't force an answer that's not there.
Sure.
So their evaluations say Shador is going to has a top 5 pedigree.
Yeah,
they'll take him. Same thing with
if you love him, take him. Don't screw around.
But if they don't, you can't squeeze blood out of a turnip.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And I will say, in a draft where we're looking at it, and we're saying all 32 teams possess their first round pick, and every team is treating these first round picks like gold. This is probably your greatest opportunity, short of, Andrew Berry said they're not trading Myles Garrett today, right? Short of anything like that, this is your golden opportunity to be like the one team currently that would have 2 first round picks in 2026. So I'm trying to be open to everything, trying to consider all the possibilities. So
There's a ton of chaos between now. Like the draft's literally 86 days away.
Who's counting?
So you know what I mean? Like there's so much is going to happen between now and then.
Yeah.
And not all teams are going to have first round picks come the night of the draft.
Isn't that crazy? What's it, the first year in like, I can't remember how long it's been.
It's the first year since the Rams had a first round pick last time. So before Goff was drafted, 2015.
2015 was the last time every team had their own first round pick.
We did talk about that. I think.
Well, but the big hire that they've made, I know the OC is a big hire, but they made bringing in Bloomgren was, that's an outside hire. That was a pretty big hire, and signals them going back to the Stefanski bread and butter.
I think overall, I come back to on the not hiring coaches from outside is that they strongly believe in their process and they want to be completely aligned. And maybe Ken Dorsey wasn't aligned with everything that they were trying to do.
There's no maybe about it.
Okay.
Here's what Kevin is doing. If he's going to go out, he's going to go out his way.
Yep.
And that is absolutely what you should do.
Agreed. Right? You're a 2-time coach of the year. Make it 3. Just show everybody how damn good you are. Right? Because Jacob reminded me not too long ago, and I try to keep this in my brain, that we are a year removed from them winning with 4 different quarterbacks, being the first team ever to make the playoffs with 5 different starting quarterbacks, right? And so can you show that again? Can you do it again? I don't know. But you both have talked about winning with mid. They did 2 years ago. They won with mid. So can you do it again?
They did in 2020 as well.
Yeah, true.
Did you?
Well,
you had to take that parting shot there at the end.
Well, Baker.
We're talking upper mid.
I'll tell you what, though. I will never forget those explosions against the Titans and the Bengals, where Baker threw 4 touchdowns and a half. I have never seen anything like that in my whole life as a Browns fan. That was amazing. Like when that dude, I remember when he takes a snap and he spins the ball, you could just see when that dude was on, he was just a different cat. He was a different cat. The whole like going in front of Hugh Jackson and pulling out fake bull. Ooh, I miss that edge. I want a quarterback with some edge, man. I want some quarterback with some edge. But anyway.
What was that safety's name? Demarius Randall? Was that his name? The one that picked it off and gave the ball to Hugh Jackson?
Yep.
After he had been fired and hired by the Bengals.
I was at that game in Cincinnati. Nick Chubb had the greatest catch I've seen a running back ever have in that game.
Yeah, where he plucked it off of
Hey, I just want to say thank you to everybody for being here. We love you. And I'm certainly a lot. I'm gonna have to consume a lot of this tape because you guys are both like just your machine. I don't know how you do it. I had to sleep some today. I don't know when you sleep, but
I don't.
Bravo to you both. I just want to let everybody know we're experimenting as we go forward. For the next probably few weeks, we're not gonna be live on YouTube. We're gonna be live on Twitch. We're gonna be live on Twitter, and we're going to post the videos on YouTube after we're live. So if you're looking to come comment, and we've had a ton of comments, and we love you for that, come to Twitter, come to Twitch. Either one, you know where to find us. But we're playing around with some stuff and kind of see where things go. But by the next time we see you, it's going to be the whole Senior Bowl, yes? Yeah, it's like a week, right?
Yeah, the game's Saturday, isn't it?
Game Saturday, 2:30 on the NFL Network. And it's the least important thing of the week. The practices are everything.
Right.
Yeah. Right. The game's like fun, but like I'm watching day 2 and day 3 of practice is what like I'm.
And you wanna have your hair stand up? The beginning of February is what? This weekend, right? Next weekend? No, this weekend. Okay. And that that will put us 1 month away from free agency, which is in March. We're not that far, man. We are not that far. You're gonna blink. We got 28 days of February, and it's gonna be. We're talking free agency. We got rumors. We got everything. It's all coming. It's all coming. We'll be here with you. We love you. So this has been a finally reunited episode of the Barking Browns Show. Nick, the Senior Bowl case. That's Ron Burgundy. Go Browns.
Go fuck yourself, San Diego.
Oh, I gotta end the stream, huh?
Yeah, that's